Namaste. So my name is Devdutt Pattanaik. I was born and raised in Bombay, but that's why I call myself a non-resident Odia, because I speak Odia with my sisters and I used to speak Odia with my parents, but I was born in Bombay, so I have a very different perspective of Odisha. But today I would like to talk about my subject, which I have been working on for the last 25 years. It's called mythology. And the role it plays in happiness and in human relationships and in our understanding of the world. So it's important to understand this word mythology, and I will take you on a journey, and I'll raise the bar a bit, make it a little complex, because I want people to understand, students to understand, next generation, teachers to understand this very, very subtle and powerful topic that can change your life completely. So what is mythology? So let me take you on a journey. The word mythology came into being in the 19th century. We are today in the 21st century. In the 19th century, the meaning of this word was very different. Today, the meaning is very different. When people use the word mythology around me, one thing I realized, they are still stuck in the 19th century. They have not moved forward to the 21st century. So let us understand, what does this word mean? What did it mean in the 19th century, and what does it mean in the 21st century? Right? So let's go back to what is 19th century. When we say 19th century, what do we mean by that? We mean a time when the world was controlled by kings, by monarchs, and we were part of an empire. And the king told us what is right and what is wrong, what is true and what is false. The king decided everything. So you looked at the king, and the king told, this is true, this is false, this is right, this is wrong. The British Empire controlled most of the world in the 19th century. But in the 21st century, we do not talk about kings and emperors and empires or colonies. We talk about democracies. We talk about nation states. In a democracy, who decides what is true? Does the king decide? But there is no king. Does the politician decide? Does the educationist decide? Does the scientist decide? Do men decide? Do women decide? Do activists decide? Do revolutionaries decide? Who decides what is true? And we must understand this, that we now live in a very different world compared to the 19th century. So when we read those books, we have to update them, upgrade them, and bring them to the current times. In the 19th century, everybody spoke of science. And many people try to compare science and mythology very casually without understanding what they mean. What they mean, very specific meanings exist. So the easiest way to understand science is to look at how it was defined by the Royal Society of Scientists. The Royal Society of Scientists said, they used a Latin phrase. They said, science is basically nullius in verba. That's the Latin phrase, nullius in verba, which means not on anyone's word. I will not accept any knowledge because someone has told me it is true. It has to be outside a person. I need to measure it. I need evidence for it. In Sanskrit, there's a word called Shabda Praman. When the Guru gives you a Shabda, you accept it. Because in Odia, they will say Bedogaro. It is the word of God or the word of a teacher or the word of a Guru. It's called Shabda Praman. Science rejects this and says, no, I do not accept Shabda Praman. Nullius in verba, not on anyone's word. So when we study physics, chemistry, biology, It is not because the teacher has told you it is so. It is because you have gone to the laboratory, done an experiment, and proven to yourself those laws. We may call them Newton's law. We may call them Einstein's law. But those names are only two placeholders. The name of the person doesn't matter. It is the idea that matters because it is outside the person. A very technical word for this is ontological. It is outside people. ये सच नहीं है क्योंकि मैं बोल रहा हूं. ये मेरे बाहर है. It is outside me. And that is called science. So to study science, you have to have doubt. Avishwas, not Vishwas, Avishwas. You always doubt. And because you always doubt, you are questioning everything that you know all the time and using better and better instruments to measure. So everything that you can see today will change when the measuring instrument becomes better. And new ideas will emerge. You can break down further and further and further and further. So at one time, everybody thought the world is made of atoms. Then they broke it down and they discovered subatomic particles. Then they broke it down and they found something even smaller. And they kept breaking it down. And that is how science emerged. That is the world of science. What is the world of mythology then? So mythology is the very opposite. It says faith, trust, belief, vishwas. Now it's a very different world. It is not based on doubt. It is based on faith, on trust. I believe. Now what is the value of belief in your life? Trust. Where do you locate it? That is the world of mythology. Everybody has a different belief system. You go to China, they believe in very different things. You go to Africa, they believe in different things. You go to America, they believe in different things. All human beings have different belief systems. And we communicate our belief systems through stories, through symbols, through rituals, through art. Ancient Egyptians believed in something totally different. They built pyramids. The Mughal kings believed in something totally different. They built the Taj Mahal. Everyone believes in something different and we create different structures. Our art is different, our architecture is different. That is the world of mythology. So let me define it in a very simple way. How to define it? When people say from a practical point of view, how do you understand mythology? Fact is everybody's truth based on measurement. Fiction is nobody's truth based on imagination. Myth is somebody's truth based on faith. Somebody's truth. Kuch logon ka sach. So I have my belief, you have your belief. I have my truth, you have your truth. And then science will say, I want to know the truth, which is outside human beings. Humans should not exist in that. Physics, chemistry, biology, wonderful. But the moment you start studying subjects like economics, politics, anthropology, sociology, literature, you can't use the yardstick of science. So in the old days, they said this is earth science and this is social science. But now nobody uses the word social sciences. We use the word humanities. Why? Because the earth science is purely objective. It is everybody's truth. But the moment you come to the humanities, you come into the subjective realm. Somebody's truth. Kuch logon ka sach. In Hindi, I will say, Vigyan wala sach, Vishwas wala sach. Our problem is, we try, look at the way I'm doing it. I'm saying Vigyan, Vishwas. I'm saying in one side, this side. But how do people think? They think Vigyan is here and Vishwas is here. They create a hierarchy. One is better than the other. The moment you say one is better than the other, your ego has come. That is the sign of the ego. The moment you see hierarchy, this is better than that. Physics is better than chemistry. Chemistry is better than biology. Biology is better than psychology. Business is better than engineering. The moment you use the word better, you have come into the world of subjectivity. And once you come to the world of subjectivity, then you have come into the world of ego and imagination and kuch logon ka sach. So let me explain this using a practical example. If you ask a scientist, what should I eat? The scientist will say you have to eat carbohydrates, fats, proteins. This is everybody's truth. This is scientific truth. Every human being needs carbohydrates, fats, proteins. But in which format should I give it? Should I give you carbohydrates as bread? Should I give it to you as rice? Should I give it to you as noodles? Should I give it to you as pasta? What is better? Is pasta better than noodles, better than roti, better than bread? What is better? And suddenly you will say, whatever my mother says is better is better. Because if you don't agree with your mother, she will not give you food. And suddenly the world has changed because it's no longer objective, it has become subjective. No scientist can tell you what is the right way to eat. Should you use chopsticks? Should you use cutlery or should you use your fingers? This is an Indian audience. If this was the Chinese audience, they would give me a very different answer. I have given these lectures in China and they all insist the most scientific way to eat is chopsticks. I have given these lectures in Europe and America and they'll all give me scientific reasons for using cutlery. And when I give these lectures in India, they give me scientific reasons why you should use your fingers. And everybody thinks they're scientific. But science will say, so long as you get carbohydrates, fats and proteins, we don't care how you get it. Science does not discuss taste. Swad. There is no scientific concept called swad or the ideal taste. The moment you come to the realm of subjectivity, science stops. So in the 19th century, people privileged science. And somehow somebody thought science is equal to West. Science belongs to nobody. It doesn't belong to people. It is outside people. It is not West, it is not East, it is not North, it is not South. It is just a way of looking at the world. दुनिया को देखने का एक तरीका है जहां पे शब्द प्रमाण को वैल्यू नहीं दिया जाता. Where we do not value people's opinion. The moment you say I believe, it's not scientific at all. The moment you use the word I believe, mera vishwas, it's not science. Physics, chemistry and biology will never get a PhD by saying I believe. But the moment you start reading the Vedas, the moment you read the Bible, the Quran, the moment you'll say I believe, this becomes very important. Vishwas. You have to ask yourself what is more important, Vigyan or Vishwas, carbohydrates, fats or proteins or pokhada? See, this is where magic happens. Carbohydrates, fats and proteins will get you a PhD, but pokhada will give you happiness. This is the realm of mythology, where you come into the subjective, you come into the cultural. Kuch logon ka sach. It's not everybody's truth. It's not supposed to be everybody's truth. It is supposed to be your truth, my truth, his truth, her truth. How does it matter in life? Let me explain how it matters in life. When you go into we just had awards being given for elocution and debating. What happens when you walk into a room and you are meeting a friend and you want to talk to him? If you walk into the room saying, I know the truth, you will walk into the room with a combat. You want to do a fight. My truth is the truth, your truth is false. And we have combat, we have conflict. Vivad is the word for it in Sanskrit. Vivad hota hai. Because my truth is the truth and your truth is false. And I have conflict. But the moment I say, I have my truth, you have your truth, let's be curious about each other's truth. I want to learn about your truth, and hopefully you want to learn about my truth. Now I will do samvad. I will listen to you, you will listen to me, and at the end of the conversation, there will not be a winner and a loser. There will be two people who know more than they did before they met each other. Your truth expands. My truth expands with every conversation I have. How many conversations will expand my truth? This, in debate, you don't expand your mind. You defeat people. Parajay karte ho. I win, you lose. I win, you lose. My truth is the truth, your truth is false. There is only one truth. But Indians said, no, that is not the way the world works. If you want to create relationships, you have to listen to different people's truths. I have to listen to your truth, you have to listen to my truth, and our truth has to expand over time. The Jains said, anekantvad. Different people have different ways of looking at the world, infinite ways of looking at the world. Each one is right. Each one is right in their own way because their life is unique to them. My life is unique to me. Your life is unique to you. I have information that you don't have access to. So listen to me. Meri baat suno. Samvad karo. The Sanskrit word for samvad, which is more popular, is Upanishad. When you read the Upanishads, you have no debate. Nobody is debating. Nobody is saying, ye sach hai. Satya word doesn't exist. They will say, understand, understand, understand. Let's listen to me, talk to me, listen to me, talk to me. Hear me, Shruti. Look at me, Darshan. Today's society, we have glamorized debate. When you debate, there is conflict, there is competition, there is combat, there is no curiosity. Curiosity. When you look at people, when you listen to people, science loves debate. Mythology does not like debate. Because science is seeking a truth which is outside people. Mythology is trying to seek a truth which is inside people. Let me give you an example through a story again. Once upon a time, there was a man who was extremely rich and extremely powerful and extremely well educated. And he said, I can do anything that I want. I can do anything that I want. And then he went to a sadhu, and a sadhu said, well, so he used to make apps. You know, nowadays people make apps and they become billionaires, right? So this man who was rich and powerful and intelligent and the greatest engineer in the world, he said, I can do anything. With my knowledge, I can create anything. He was given a challenge by this sadhu. He said, create an app that will reduce jealousy. So everybody should be able to download this app. They should measure their jealousy and reduce their jealousy with this app. That man has not been able to develop that tool. Nobody teaches us anything about jealousy in school and colleges. Where do you learn about jealousy? Is jealousy part of physics? Is jealousy part of chemistry? Is jealousy part of biology? No, it comes in the realm of psychology, but it is very complicated. You can't measure it. You go and ask a person, are you jealous? He'll say, no, I am not jealous. There is no medical test to find out if you are jealous. I can't take your blood. I can read your blood and find out if you have cancer, but I cannot find out if you are jealous. And are you jealous level 1, jealous level 2, jealous level 3? You can't measure jealousy. In the modern world, you are told that which can be measured can be managed. measurement, maapdand. Measurement is so important. We measure GDP, we measure IQ, we measure, everything is about report card, right? There is a story in the Mahabharata. One day the Pandavas and Kauravas go to Krishna and say, you have to support us in fighting. We are going to fight a war. You have to support us. And Krishna says, you all are two, I am only one. But I want to support both of you. So I am going to divide myself into two parts. On one side will be all the things I possess. All the things about me that are measurable. All the things that you can measure, all the things that I possess. My army, my weapons, my money, my educational qualifications, all that I possess. जो भी मेरा है, मैं एक तरफ रखता हूं. That is the Narayani Sena. On the other side, it will be me, only me. Narayan. Narayan, Narayani. Narayani you can measure. You can figure out how many soldiers are there, how many weapons are there, how well they are skilled. You can do all measurement, put everything in an Excel sheet. But Narayan cannot be put in an Excel sheet. मैं और मेरा, तू और तेरा, me and mine, you and yours. When I look at you, we all of us have these two sides, right? And the story says the Kauravas chose Narayani Sena. The Pandavas chose Narayan. If this choice was given to you, what would you choose? Yes, everybody lies. Everybody lies, because let me give you examples to prove my point. When you show your report card to your mother or your father, do they see you or your report card? Report card is Narayani Sena. You are Narayan. If Mukesh Ambani came here, will you look at him or will you look at his money? If Neeraj Chopra, the great athlete, came here, will you look at his record-breaking performance or will you look at him? If you understand this, you will understand so much about human relationships. What do we look at? When nowadays, a lot of young people over here, but since their parents are here, when they want to get married, what do parents look at? Narayan or Narayani Sena? Huh? Is he educated? Does he have a job? Which family does he come from? Is he rich? Is he powerful? What is his community? What is his religion? All Narayani Sena. Nobody looks at Narayan. This is what our scriptures teach us. Measurable. I can see measurable. राजा को देखते हो या राजा के तलवार को देखते हो? राजा को कोई नहीं देखता. That is why kings are very lonely. Because the day the talwar goes away, nobody will talk to them. Nobody will recognize them. One day in Dwarka, Krishna decided to go for a walk. And Satyabhama ran behind him and says, please, aapka mukut pehen lo. Agar मोर पंख नहीं होगा, कोई आपको recognize नहीं करेगा. Krishna without the more pank cannot be recognized, just as an IAS officer cannot be recognized without his red sign. This is the world of science. This is the world of measurement. This is the world which cannot be measured. In Sanskrit, this is called sagun, measurable. This is nirgun, cannot be measured. Now it sounds very sophisticated, na? Nirgun, sagun, these are all big Sanskrit words. Let me give you a very simple example. When you are hungry, you want food. जब भूख लगती है तो खाना चाहिए. What is measurable? Hunger or food? Food is measurable. Nobody can measure hunger in this world. There is no scientific test to measure hunger. You cannot measure hunger because you are hungry even after eating, no? After eating a full meal, you are still hungry. Agar thoda meetha hota to. My stomach is full and suddenly you will see that rasgulla and say, maybe the stomach can make room for it. Hunger is not measurable. Food is measurable. This is the world of science. Measurement. This I can measure. This I cannot measure. So you can meet a person who has 1,000 rupees and is very happy. You can meet a person with $1 billion and he is still like Bakasur, hungry. He is so hungry. Look at this character called Bakasur, which exists in mythology. Usko bahut bhook lagta hai. Very hungry. He eats everything. He will enter your village and go to everybody's house and eat all the food. And when all the food is over, he will start eating you. And somebody told me, Devdutt, this is mythology. Real life mein nahi hota hai. Then I said, have you seen your boss? Dimag khata hai. But everybody aspires to be a boss. You don't like your boss, but you want to be a boss. We don't like Bakasur, but we don't mind being a Bakasur. Kyonki bhook, hunger, in the corporate world, we don't use the word hunger. We use sophisticated words. We use words like ambition. Ambition is a good word. What is the difference between ambition and hunger? What is the difference between ambition and greed? What is the difference between ambition and need? There is no difference. There is no mathematical measurement. I decided it is ambition. Somebody else will say it is greed. Nirguna. You can't measure need, want. Who decides? There is no king who will decide. Remember, 19th century, the king told you how much hunger you are supposed to have. How much hunger you are supposed to have. I read a book recently which says, stay hungry, stay foolish till the day you die. Which means basically, when you are dying also, you are hungry. And I'm like, oh my God, there is a time for everything. A young person being hungry is very different from an old person being hungry. A poor person being hungry is very different from a rich person being hungry. We teach children about food, which is measurable. We do not talk about hunger. And we don't tell people it, and we are always telling people, look at your hunger. And so everybody thinks I should focus on my hunger, but then nobody looks at other people's hunger. अरे बकासुर वहां पे भी है, वहां पे भी है, वहां पे भी, सब जगह बकासुर है, इधर भी बकासुर है, सब जगह बकासुर. We will eat each other. That is not a healthy society. A healthy society is where I look at your hunger and you look at my hunger. You give me food, I give you food, but that is not enough. One thing which is again not taught to children is the power of being content. Santosh. On Instagram forward, I got this message. Garib kahe, Amir sukhi. Amir kahe, Raja sukhi. Raja kahe, Indra sukhi. Indra kahe, Ram sukhi. Ram kahe, Rishi sukhi. Rishi kahe, jo santosh, wahi sukhi. But I'll tell you the problem with Santosh. When I go to business schools and there are children over here, they'll be going to MBA classes. They'll say, Devdutt, if I'm content, why would I be ambitious? Right? That is the answer I get every business school across the world. Oxford, Harvard, Cambridge, European, where I've gone to London School of Economics, everywhere I have gone. I have only heard this one line, Devdutt, if people are satisfied, why would they be ambitious? They're basically telling that the only way you can do good in society is being dissatisfied. You have to constantly be unhappy, discontented, dissatisfied. Only then you will work. But this is not what the Indian scriptures say. Indian scriptures say ऐसा थोड़ा ही होता है. Bakasur will not create a great world because Bakasur will only think about himself and his hunger. What you need is people who are content and they look at other people and say, oh, but he is not content. He needs food, he needs food, he needs food. I have enough. I have sufficient. But around me there are Bakasurs and I have to help them outgrow their Bakasurness. How do I help you outgrow your Bakasurness? I'll give you a homework. Read the Ramayana and ask, what is Ram's ambition? I'm giving you a simple answer. You won't find one. Ram has no ambition. Krishna has no ambition. They're very happy people. But they're surrounded by unhappy people. And so what they're doing all their lives is, they are very, very happy. They are very, very content. They are super happy. The Farsi word for this is malang. वो मस्त malang है. The Hindu word for it is udasin. And then they say, oh, but I can be happy, but the world is so unhappy. Can I pay attention to the world? Can I do their darshan? Can I look at the world? And I look at hungry people and I have to feed them. They're hungry. I have to give them food. I have to give them food. And how do I teach them to give me food? How do I teach people to give other people food? Whose hunger are you bothered about? किसको खाना दे रहे हो? अपने आप को या दूसरे को? अगर बकासुर अंदर है, you will always collect money for yourself. अगर बकासुर बाहर है, you know that no matter you feed him, it will never be satisfied. So what do? You work on an ecosystem. You understand people. You look at people and try to understand how to uplift them. How do I outgrow my hunger, जो निर्गुण है, so that then food becomes always in surplus. There's always food. There's always Mahaprasad for everyone to eat, even though Narayan is Daridra Narayan. He has nothing because everything he has is in the market for you to eat. And every day you'll be hungry and every day you'll come back to him. And he's aware of other people's hunger. This is the meaning of the word darshan. So I want to conclude by using 3 words for you to understand philosophy, the most brilliant philosophies that have come from our country. Drishti is to see things which are measurable. Drishti means I see something. I can see the measurable world. I can see food. Divya Drishti is the ability to gain insight. If there is food, there is hunger. If there is food, there is hunger. That is Divya Drishti, insight. From sight comes insight. But then you say, whose hunger are we talking about? Person in front of me or myself? Whose curiosity I'm talking about? The person in front of me or myself? That is called darshan. And let's do darshan. So let me tell you a story to explain to you the concept of darshan, where you see people and recognize people and you understand what does it mean when we say Ram, Krishna. What does it mean? So a simple story. It's a story that you have heard 100 times, but I'm going to tell you the story again and listen to it carefully. Shruti karo. So once upon a time, this is a story from the Ramayana. It's one of my favorite stories. And by the way, the original version of this story comes from Odisha. So let me tell you the story. The story is Sita has been abducted. In the Ramayana, Sita has been abducted, and the only information Ram has is that she is in the southern direction. Someone took her in the southern direction. So Ram starts walking in the southern direction. And he keeps walking. He has got a bow in his hand, he has got an arrow in his hand, and he's walking in the southern direction. He doesn't eat, he doesn't sleep, his eyes are red, he's covered with sweat and dirt and dust, and he's walking in the southern direction. Ki, where is Sita? Where is Sita? He wants to find her. And Lakshman is walking behind him. And they're walking continuously, day and night. He keeps walking and walking over mountains, over rivers. He just keeps walking. He doesn't stop. Until one lady comes in front of him and says, stop, sit down for a moment. Sit down. You have not eaten. Eat something. I have got some berries. Why don't you eat it? In the Odia version, it is not berries, it is mango. Eat, she gives. And Ram sits down and says, okay, I will eat. So she takes the berry or the mango, whichever version you want to take, it doesn't matter. She bites it and gives it to Ram, and Ram eats it with relish. She bites another piece and she throws it away. She takes the third one, bites it and gives it to Lakshman. But Lakshman recoils in horror and says, Jhuta khilaogi, ointa. That's the Odia word, no? Ointa. Can't be translated in any English language. I can't translate this word, jhuta, ointa. The English version is soiled with your saliva. No magic in that, but chalo, let's use it. You are going to give me food soiled with your saliva? Don't you have any manners? You are calling us to eat and you're giving us food that you have already chakke de rahe ho mujhe. Chakha hua khana koi kisi ko deta hai? You have no manners. He's very upset and he's saying, hum Raghukul ke Rajkumar hain. How dare you give us this food? How dare you insult us? And the girl, the lady, Shabari we are calling her, which means a tribal woman, she says, I'm so sorry, I apologize. She apologizes profusely, looking very confused. She's very confused, but she knows that these people are upset and she starts bowing and saying, sorry, not really understanding what has she done wrong. She's not sure kya hua hai, what happened. And then Ram is watching this interaction and he looks at Lakshman and says, Lakshman, darshan karo, darshan. What are you seeing and what am I seeing? What are you seeing? You are seeing something very different from what I am seeing. I am seeing, we are two men who were walking in the forest with weapons in our hands. We were looking ferocious. People are scared. Nobody will come in front of us, but this woman comes in front of us. I am seeing a very brave lady. Why is she come in front of us? For her benefit or our benefit? For our benefit, not for her benefit. So not only is this lady brave, she is also very kind. She's a kind person. And do you know why she's eating the berry or giving that mango to us, the bitten mango, so that we can get the best fruit that she has. So not only is she brave, not only is she generous, she's a good host. She's a very good host. This is what I saw. What did you see? You saw food contaminated with saliva. You saw a woman without manners. What manners? Manners that you learnt in the palace. Can't you see this woman doesn't live in the palace? She lives in the jungle. In the jungle, there is no concept of purity and impurity. In nature, Prakriti mein, there is no such thing as pollution. Pollution, impurity, chhuachut. These are all palace concepts, Sanskriti ke concepts hai, cultural concepts, not natural concepts. I thought you were educated enough to figure it out. Why, Lakshman, why are you not able to see her? Itna ghamand, itna ahankar kahan se aaya? Itni insecurity kahan pe hai? Where is your insecurity that you are not able to be generous with your vision? You are not able to see her for what she is. What a lovely person. I will be her best friend. You will become her enemy. That is why you are Lakshman and I am Ram. I see the kindness in people. I see the generosity in people. I see that everybody is trying to do their best. And they are living in a very difficult world. This is a jungle where there are predators and prey and rivals and tricksters. All kinds of people exist. These people are surviving. They're trying. I am not insecure. I am not threatened by anyone. The least I can do is make people feel happy, make them feel comfortable, and thank them for the kindness that they show. So next time you meet people, look at them as people with ideas, thoughts, truths. They all have a truth. Every person in this world has a truth to share. They all have strengths, they all have weaknesses, they are all opportunities, they all have threats. They have good qualities and bad qualities. Appreciate them, love them, and hopefully they will reciprocate. Do samvad, not vivad. Think as if you are in the 21st century, not like the 19th century. Allow people to have many truths and expand your mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for such an enlightening talk and your words of wisdom. It was indeed breathtaking and mesmerizing. And sir, we would, with your permission, we would like to ask some questions which we have received.
Sure.
Yeah. So may I call upon Adyasha?
Good morning, sir. So you talked about subjective truth and objective truth. Of the two, which one dominates human psyche today, and what has been its impact on gross human happiness?
So happiness is a subjective state. So happiness is always a function of subjectivity, not objectivity. Remember this one rule. Happiness is not, nobody can measure happiness. Those people who measure happiness are lying. That's a lie. You cannot measure happiness. What you can measure is resources, you can measure power, you can measure knowledge, you can measure information. That you can measure. And that has value because it will help you understand how much wealth is generated, how is wealth distributed. It has a great value. It's the Excel sheet. It is the PowerPoint presentation. But ultimately, poetry, you can read poetry, but the beauty of poetry is always going to be subjective. So I believe that while objective reality is important for passing exams, if you want 100 out of 100 in math, you better know your objective marks. If you want to be successful in your career, you need to understand objectivity. But if you want to be happy, you need to understand subjectivity. Yeah? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir. I'm Sneha Samani, and I'd like to ask you a question. Do you think our Asian sculpture should be a part of our academic curriculum in schools and undergraduate studies? Sir, do you think our Asian sculpture should be a part of our academic curriculum in schools and undergraduate studies? If yes, how can it help when today's education is vocational driven?
So that's a good question. Ancient scripture, should they be taught? Okay, approach ancient scriptures not with reverence, but with a scientific mind. Ask questions. The ancient scriptures were written by people like you and I. They were not superhuman beings. They were ordinary human beings writing about ordinary issues. And they have survived for so many years is because they really obviously contain ideas that people liked. And therefore they have survived for so many years. So yes, I believe there is a lot of value in ancient scriptures, but not if you treat it with reverence. Oh my God, it's like people by-hearting the Bhagavad Gita without understanding it. I meet a lot of people who know the entire Bhagavad Gita, memorized it completely, but have not been able to overcome their jealousy and pettiness. So I always use the word jealousy. It's a very simple word. बहुत दर्द होता है उससे. I always say people that if you are a spiritual person, are you jealous? And they will always say, no, I'm not jealous. And I'm like, yeah. But the thing is, so that's a point to remember. Yes, it is to be taught, but in a vocational driven world, should I know it? What does vocation teach you? It teaches you how to weave a cloth. It doesn't teach you how to be a nice human being. Vocation will give you the food. Vocation will not reduce your hunger. Vocational training will not cure you of bakasuritis. That's a very dangerous disease. I see rich, powerful people suffering from extremely dangerous form of bakasuritis. When I walk into their house, I'm saying, oh my God, they have so much money. Why are they not content and happy? Because they have forgotten presence of food does not make you happy. I'll tell you a story. Sorry, the girl has inspired. I have a habit of telling stories, as you have realized. So we did Ganesh Puja, right? So Ganesh Puja was happening. Very big Ganesh Puja was happening, and people were worshipping Ganesha. And then Kuber, the king of treasures, comes there and notices that Ganesha's father is Mahadev. And Mahadev Shivji has no job, effectively is unemployed. He lives on a mountain where nothing grows, which means no agricultural income also. So Kuber feels very bad and he says, oh God, Ganesha, he looks like a person who likes to eat. But there is no food in his father's house. So he says, come to my house, come to Alakapuri, I will feed you to your heart's content. And bharpet khana khilaunga. And Ganesh is so happy, he says, I'll come. Next day, early morning, doorbell rings, Ganesh is there saying, I'm hungry, feed me. And Kuber starts feeding him, and feeding him, and feeding him, and feeding him. Kuber's treasure house gets over, and Ganesh keeps eating and eating Lambodara Pitambaram. And he says, oh my God, he's eaten everything in the house, in his treasury, everything. He sells everything. All his property goes away. And Ganesh keeps eating and eating and eating and eating. And then finally, Kuber says, I think you're trying to tell me something. And he says, yes. Kuber, you come always to meet my father. You're forgetting why we go to Shiva. We don't go to Shiva to get more food. We go to Shiva to figure out how to reduce hunger. Unfortunately, everybody goes to Shiva and says, give me more food. Even those with a lot of food, even Kuber says, I want more food. Nobody is asking, help me reduce hunger so that I can focus on other people's food. And I'll give you an example of this. Ganesh has around his stomach a snake. What do snakes eat? Rats. Have you seen a rat somewhere around Ganesha? And what do rats like to eat? Modaka. There is a modak on Ganesha's hand which the rat is supposed to eat. And there is a snake which is supposed to eat the rat. But nobody is eating anything. They are all looking at you and saying, what do you want? Tell us what you want. You know why? Because in front of Ganesha and Shivji, nobody is hungry. So the snake is not hungry for the rat is not hungry for the modaka, and saying, oh, though hungry bakasurs are coming to the temple, let us give them something till they cure themselves of bakasuritis. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. I'm Shivakshi Dikshit. Sir, my question to you is, the gross purpose of entire mankind's struggle is to earn happiness. You talked about greed and ambition. What do you think education can do to remove discontentment from our lives?
Education can teach us to be curious about the world. The world is not just made of things, it is also made of people. So ask yourself, does your education system teach you about things, or does it also teach you about people? And as you grow older, you should be able to learn more and more about people. Yeah? So that's the education system you should aspire for. Don't just learn about things. Physics, chemistry, biology is important, but also try to understand about people. Yeah? Do we have time? Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have another question.
Sure.
Good morning, sir. So the question is, what would you like to say about rationalists who often refute mythology and Puranas as mere tales of fiction without any historical evidence?
Yes. You see, these are 19th century people. So a rationalist is basically a 19th century person who believes human beings are rational beings. We are not rational at all. No human being is rational. We are all emotional beings. Humans are emotional beings who cope with their insecurities with rationality. We are not rational beings who are infected with sentimentality. We are sentimental beings who need rationality to cope with lives. So most people who say they are rational usually are insensitive human beings, borderline psychopaths, because they don't see human beings. They don't realize human beings are insecure, they are frightened, they are terrified. When you are frightened and terrified, rationality will not solve all your problems. No matter how much you have studied in your exam, just before you go to your exam center, you suddenly start feeling nervous. Oh my God, will I win? Will I pass? That insecurity is irrational. There is no logic. So accept it. Yeah, so that is the problem with rationality. They do not understand emotional human beings until they fall in love. And then their girlfriend dumps them.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I just wanted to ask that do we and how do we rather keep a balance between our Narayan and our Narayani Sena?
See, this is, everybody talks of middle path. Basically, we want to be greedy. Saying, Devdutt, I want to be Bakasur, but can I be 50% Bakasur? 50% Bakasur, I must give me permission to be 50% Bakasur. And this is unfortunate. I'm not, this is the question which even your parents will ask you. The point is, the story is very simple. Get rid of Bakasur, automatically food will come to you. The moment you take care of Narayan, Narayani will come running after Narayan. So focus on Narayan. The moment you focus on Narayan, Narayani will just follow. That is why Vishnu, heaven is called the ocean of milk. That milk is not for Krishna. Krishna is like, okay, I am drinking milk, but really it is for you to drink because you have Bakasuritis, I don't. And why does Krishna like to eat buttermilk, say makhan chor, so that his mother feels happy, I fed my son. This is called Leela. I am playing a game to make people feel happy that they are feeding me when I am not hungry at all. But I know they want to give me love, so I receive love. Do I need it? No. But I will perform, nahi mummy, mere ko kuch do. So these are the ideas. So focus on Narayan, short answer, and Narayani will follow. Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.